All right. Hey, everybody. It's Juleann here with you for the rejuvenation part of the Journey into Power sequence while you're pregnant. So let's just get into rejuvenation right away and the different parts of it. Some people say not to do any type of handstands, headstands, or anything where your feet are up overhead. Other people say rock it out, do it. My personal philosophy is I was doing it pre-pregnancy, still feels good during pregnancy, I'm going to continue doing it. And again, this is a day by day. You need to feel it out and feel what your strength and especially with your blood pressure, how that feels each day and each moment. Because it may feel at the beginning of your practice completely different from the end and vice versa. So with rejuvenation, there's headstand, handstand, shoulder stand. If you already had this in your practice before pregnancy, I always like to do it. Obviously, you want to talk to your OBGYN, your midwife, whoever is taking care of you medically wise, and if you're really worried about it, talk to them and see what they say. But other than that, listen to yourself and let's just play around here. So with rejuvenation, with waterfall, in the early stages of pregnancy, being on your back, completely okay. You can do all the stuff. As you move further along, being on your back for an extended period of time can start to be really uncomfortable. During second trimester, right now I'm at the end of my third trimester. During second, I would play around with 2 blocks and do waterfall, which is also an accessible pose. Your teacher may not call waterfall every single time, but know that that is also an option for you, that if you still want to be able to get upside down and do it safely, here's an option for you. So with waterfall, normally you're just flat on your back and you have your legs raised up. Now for me, this is already uncomfortable being on my back. There's too much pressure on my sacral area. So something that you could play with is 2 blocks, and you kind of place it underneath your sacral area, your pelvis, where there's some wiggle room in there. And for me, it's like you kind of just have to play around with it and see what feels good. But it's like this sinking feeling where my hips are supported, but there's no pressure on my sacral area, the nerve that runs down, and that starts to feel really uncomfortable. So even right here, that feels much better. I may not be fully in a 90 degree. My legs may be more like this, and that's completely fine too. And again, this is all about just playing and seeing what's accessible to you right here at this moment. But it does feel good. All right, so let's go with the other ones too. And for myself right now, doing some of the handstands and everything is a little bit more difficult because my core is so, well, it's just so big. I am, what am I right now? 37 weeks, and my core is basically, you are done doing any type of work. So I'm just gonna talk you through some of the things. Handstand, if you wanna access handstand, for me, pre-pregnancy, I was still using a wall. So I was still able to use a wall now, and I would just do the same thing where I plant my hands right by a wall and I would do a kick up and hang out there for as long as I possibly could. For me, doing a handstand with the support of the wall was easier for me to do than a basket headstand. So that felt really good, and I could stay there for like 5 to 10 breaths and just let everything drain. And then afterwards, you want to make sure that you basically recalibrate yourself and do child's pose. Basket headstand, if you want to go for that, again, if it was in your practice before, Try it out now and see how it feels. You just want to make sure that you really keep your head and your neck safe as you go up. Even still, you could just do the practice of it all. And this may be your upside down pose right here. If you want to go further into it, walk yourself all the way up and then extend your legs up and overhead. Also, there is shoulder stand. Okay, so shoulder stand's kind of funny to get into. First, second trimester, pretty much, I don't want to use the word easy. It's a bit more obtainable to use at how you would do it before pregnancy. Now with a larger belly, because what you usually do for a shoulder stand is you go into plow position first, then bring your legs up and you stay in there. Now when your belly gets a bit larger, it's pretty hard to go into plow pose, because basically what you're doing is a seated forward fold on your back. And if you think about that, you're going to get squished quite a lot. And for me, super uncomfortable. So getting into a shoulder stand, especially in your third trimester, it does not look pretty, and that's okay, but it does feel really good once you get up there. So we'll see how it goes for me for now. So especially with shoulder stand, as you get into it, it's really kind of, you could do a wide leg plow, or I kind of go right into this weird, I tuck my legs in, my knees into my sides and then go up. I'll show you. Either way, it's comical and you just go with it, and the end result is that it feels good. Okay, so when you're in it, you again want to make sure that you're going to have support for your back with your hands, and you want to make sure that your elbows and your shoulders are tucked deep underneath. That's why you go into plow first, so you can really get stable with your elbows and your shoulders. So it looks a little bit different while you're further along in your pregnancy. So I automatically start to wiggle underneath, and then I kind of have to give myself some support. I kind of go into like some frog legs, and I go back and forth until I feel pretty stable. There we go. And that's when I extend up long. Coming down, I mean, this might feel good. Different leg positions, could go from side to side. And then to come down, I kind of just walk my hands down my spine from side to side. And I come down that way, because me going into plow or into deaf yogis is just not accessible to me anymore. And that's okay. You just play around with it and you kind of laugh at yourself, and it's all good. All right, so that is rejuvenation. And if you're having a day where that's just not accessible to you, downward facing dog is still a wonderful way of doing your rejuvenation. It's still an upside down pose. You could also just do child's pose and just focus on your breath. No matter what, you do you. Whatever is going to make you feel like a total badass in this moment, that's awesome. So I will see you for the last sequence, which will be deep rest.